Have you ever been in a quiet room, but your mind was anything but quiet? Have you ever smiled in a conversation, yet inside, your thoughts were spiraling? You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. Let me ask you something. How many mornings have you woken up already feeling behind before the day even begins? How often do you open your eyes and the first thing that greets you isn't peace but pressure? The world we live in is constantly on. Our phones light up before we even brush our teeth. Emails, deadlines, news, expectations. And if you're like most people, there's a silent tension sitting in your chest that you've learned to carry without question. Anxiety doesn't always announce itself. It's not always panic attacks or crying in the bathroom. Sometimes it's subtle. It's the racing thoughts at 2 a.m., the overanalyzing after every conversation. Did I say too much? It's the constant need to control everything just to feel safe. And maybe no one sees it. You show up, you smile, you function. But inside, there's a storm and it never really stops. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt truly at ease in your own mind? Let that question sit with you. Because here's what I've learned, and maybe you have, too. In a world that glorifies busyness, calm feels rebellious. Slowing down feels like falling behind. And rest can feel like a luxury you haven't earned. But what if that's the lie? What if you didn't have to earn peace? What if calm wasn't something far away at the end of a checklist or waiting for you in some distant future? What if it was something you could access right now in this moment simply by breathing? What if the mind that feels like a battlefield could become a sanctuary? You see, today's video isn't about fixing you, because you're not broken. It's about remembering that underneath the noise, the doubt, the restlessness, there is a part of you that is calm, a part of you that is whole. And we're going to reconnect with that part together. Now, I know affirmations might sound simple, just words, right? But I want you to think of them as gentle rewiring. As soft medicine, not loud motivation that pressures you to get over it, but quiet truths reminding you that you're safe, you're seen, you're supported. When anxiety takes over, it often tells us stories. You're not enough. You're falling behind. You need to do more, be more, fix more. But those stories are just that, stories. You don't have to believe every thought your mind produces. And affirmations are one way to create new ones. Ones rooted in peace, compassion, and self-trust. So today, I invite you to try something different. Not to fight your anxiety, but to sit with it. Not to silence your thoughts, but to soften them. Imagine if, just for today, you gave yourself permission to be gentle. To speak to yourself the way you'd speak to a child you love. To breathe slowly, deeply, without guilt. To choose stillness not as weakness, but as wisdom. Let this be your space. A space to breathe, to release, to remember who you are underneath all the roles, the responsibilities, the noise. And don't worry, you don't have to do it alone. I'll be right here with you, guiding you through every word, every breath. All you need to do now is find a quiet place, sit or lie down however you feel most supported. Close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. And when you're ready, take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. And exhale gently. This is your moment. You've made it here, and that's enough. Now, let's begin the journey inward. Let's invite peace back in. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you told yourself, I'm safe right now? Not safe because everything's perfect. Not safe because the world has no problems. But safe simply because you're here. You're breathing. And in this exact moment, nothing is chasing you. Think about that. Anxiety doesn't live in the now. It lives in the what ifs. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if something goes wrong? It pulls us into the future, a place we can't control. And yet, our bodies react as if the danger is right here. Racing heart, shallow breath, tight chest. Have you ever felt that? Like your body is screaming, even when your surroundings are calm. That's not your fault. It's your nervous system trying to protect you. But sometimes it forgets that the danger isn't real anymore. That's where this affirmation comes in. I am safe in this moment. Say it out loud, even if your voice shakes. Whisper it if you must. Let your body hear it. Let your mind feel it. I am safe in this moment. Now take a deep breath. Can you feel your feet on the ground? The weight of your body being held by the chair beneath you? The gentle rhythm of your breath? These are all reminders. You are not in danger. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are here. And here is safe. You know, I remember a moment in my own life sitting in traffic, heart pounding, mind spiraling. I wasn't in a crisis. I was just thinking about one. My mind had gone far ahead, playing out every worst-case scenario like a movie on repeat. And then I asked myself, what's actually happening right now? Not in my head, but here, in this car. I looked around. Sunlight through the windshield. A song playing softly. My hands on the wheel. And I realized nothing was wrong. I was just thinking about things that hadn't even happened. That's the trap of anxiety. It convinces us that fear is our reality. But the truth? Most of the time, we're not reacting to our lives. We're reacting to our thoughts about our lives. So what if you brought yourself back? What if you stopped the spiral and reminded your body, we're okay. We're safe. We're not in danger right now. This is the power of a single sentence. A small phrase that tells your nervous system, you don't have to fight. You don't have to run. You can rest. You can be here. Let this be your anchor. Whenever you feel the rush of anxiety rising, pause. Place your hand over your heart if it helps. And say, I am safe in this moment. Not because everything is solved. Not because you have all the answers. But because peace begins right here with the choice to come back to now. You deserve that peace. Not later. Not after you've done more. But now. So take another breath. And let yourself settle into this truth. You are safe. Right here. Right now. Let's be honest. How much of your day, your energy, your peace is being consumed by things you have absolutely no control over? Have you ever found yourself stuck in traffic, heart racing, frustration boiling as if your anger could magically move the cars in front of you? Or maybe you replay a conversation from last week over and over again in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing, even though you can't go back and change a single word. How often do you try to fix someone else's opinion of you? Or stress about a future that hasn't even happened yet? If any of that feels familiar, you're not alone. We've all done it. We've all carried burdens that were never ours to hold. But here's the truth most of us forget. You don't have to control everything to be okay. Let me repeat that. You don't have to control everything to be okay. Let that sink in. We live in a culture that worships control. We plan, we schedule, we predict, we perfect. Because if we can just control the outcome, maybe we won't get hurt. Maybe we'll feel safe. But what if the safety you're searching for doesn't come from control? What if it comes from release? What if true peace comes not from tightening your grip, but from learning to let go? That's what today's affirmation invites us into. I release what I cannot control. Say it with me gently, not forcefully. Say it with compassion, not guilt. Let it be a soft reminder that your worth is not tied to how well you manage chaos. I release what I cannot control. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what are you carrying right now that isn't yours? Maybe it's an old mistake you keep punishing yourself for. Maybe it's someone else's emotions that you've been absorbing as your own. Maybe it's trying to control how others see you, how things turn out, how life unfolds. But here's the liberating truth. You're allowed to set that down. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to say, this is not mine to hold anymore. And no, letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean pretending things don't matter. Letting go is choosing clarity over chaos. It's choosing presence over pressure. It's trusting that life can still unfold beautifully even when it's not in your hands. I remember a time in my own life when everything felt out of control. A loved one was struggling with their mental health, and I kept trying to fix it, trying to be the solution. But the more I tried to take it all on, the more powerless I felt. Until one day, I realized I wasn't helping. I was drowning in guilt and fear, trying to control something I simply couldn't. And when I finally whispered to myself, I release what I cannot control, I cried. Not because I gave up, but because I gave myself back to me. And maybe that's what you need to. Because life is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. But your peace? That can be predictable if you choose it. Let this affirmation be your daily filter. When worrying shows up, ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, breathe and let it pass. And yes, it takes practice. But every time you choose peace over panic, trust over tension, surrender over struggle, you come back home to yourself. So one more time, take a deep breath with me. Inhale and feel the tension. Exhale and imagine it leaving your body. Again, I release what I cannot control. Let it go. Let it float away like a leaf on the water. Let it dissolve in the wind. And remind yourself, your peace is more valuable than your grip on things you were never meant to hold. Let me ask you something. Have you been waiting for life to calm down before you can? Have you ever told yourself, once this deadline passes, once I finish this project, once they understand me, love me, validate me, then I'll finally feel calm? We've all done it. We wait for peace to come from the outside, from a clear schedule, from a quiet environment, from everyone else behaving exactly how we want. But what if I told you peace doesn't start out there? It starts in here with you. Not when the world gets quiet, not when the conditions are perfect, but in this very moment, messy, noisy, uncertain as it may be. Peace begins within me. This affirmation is a shift in power. It's a declaration that you are not a prisoner of your circumstances, that your calm does not have to be dictated by chaos. Because here's the truth no one teaches us growing up. You can feel centered in the middle of a storm. You can be grounded even when everything around you feels shaky. You can be the still point, the safe space for your own soul. That doesn't mean you're immune to stress. It doesn't mean you'll never feel overwhelmed or hurt. It simply means you remember that peace is always accessible, not as a reward, but as a choice. Let me share a moment with you. There was a time when I was standing in line at the airport, delayed, sleep-deprived, irritated. Everyone around me was complaining. Tension was rising, and my mind racing 100 miles an hour. But then I paused, took a breath, and silently repeated to myself, peace begins within me. I closed my eyes, even just for 3 seconds. And you know what shifted? Not the line, not the delay, me. Suddenly, I remembered that I didn't have to match the energy around me. I could choose a different rhythm, a slower breath, a softer thought. And so can you. You don't need a perfect morning to feel peace. You don't need every email answered or every person to understand you. You just need one breath, one grounding thought, one decision to return to your center. Let me ask you this. Where in your life are you outsourcing your peace? Are you waiting for your partner to change before you feel safe? Waiting for your boss to recognize you before you feel worthy? Waiting for your bank account to grow before you feel secure? What if just for today you stopped waiting? What if you allowed peace to begin inside your breath, inside your stillness, inside your presence? Let this affirmation be your invitation to come home, not to a place, but to yourself. Say it gently, like you're speaking to your inner child. Peace begins within me. Say it in the middle of a busy grocery store. Say it while washing dishes. Say it before you walk into that meeting, that conversation, that moment that makes your chest tighten. And over time, you'll notice, you no longer depend on your surroundings to feel okay. You carry peace like a candle inside your chest, lighting your way, even when the outside world grows dim. That's the gift of this truth. You are not waiting for peace. You are peace. So take a deep breath with me now. Inhale, feel the air fill your lungs. Exhale, release the tension in your shoulders. And gently remind yourself, peace begins within me. Not tomorrow, not when the stars align, but now, here, inside this one breath. Let me ask you something. Have you ever believed a thought just because it showed up in your mind? Maybe it said, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'll never be as confident, successful, or calm as other people. And maybe, just maybe, you believed it because it felt real. It felt loud. It felt like truth. But what if it wasn't? What if not every thought deserves your attention? What if your mind, for all its brilliance, sometimes gets it wrong? Here's a powerful truth I want you to carry with you today. You are not your thoughts. Let me say that again. You are not your thoughts. And your thoughts? They do not define who you are. You are not your anxiety. You are not your fear. You are not that one moment you regret or that one voice that told you you're not enough. You are something much deeper. You are the observer, the one who notices the thoughts, but doesn't have to become them. It's like this. Thoughts are clouds. Some are light and fluffy. Others are dark and heavy. But no matter how they look, you are the sky. You are the space that holds it all. And clouds, they pass. They always pass. But how often do we forget that? How often do we mistake a passing storm for a permanent truth? Think about it. How many days have been ruined by one harsh thought? How many opportunities have we walked away from because our minds whispered, "You can't"? It's time to change that. This affirmation, "My thoughts do not define me," is your reminder that you have the power to choose. You can choose what to believe. You can choose what to release. You can choose what gets to stay and what gets to float away. Let me share a personal moment with you. There was a time when I was preparing to speak on stage, heart pounding, palm sweating. My mind was screaming, "You're going to fail. They won't care. You're not enough for this moment." And honestly, for a second, I believed it. But then I took a deep breath. I paused. And I said to myself, "This is just a thought. It's not the truth. It's not who I am." And with that, something inside me softened. Because I remembered I am not the noise. I am the awareness behind the noise. And so are you. You might have a million thoughts a day. Some uplifting, some anxious, some just plain weird. But you get to decide which ones you hold on to. Try this right now. Close your eyes. Picture a river. And imagine your thoughts as leaves floating on the surface. Each one passes by. Some fast, some slow. But you're sitting on the bank watching. Not grabbing. Not fighting. Just witnessing. That's your power. You are allowed to witness your thoughts without becoming them. You are allowed to say, "That thought doesn't serve me. That thought isn't mine to carry. That thought might be loud, but it doesn't speak my truth." So the next time your mind starts spiraling, the next time doubt creeps in, or shame takes the mic, or fear starts narrating your day, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, "My thoughts do not define me." Because you are more than your worst moments, more than your loudest inner critic, more than any fleeting sentence that passes through your brain. You are awareness. You are presence. You are peace. Let this affirmation be your gentle shield. Repeat it in the mirror. Say it before a meeting. Whisper it when your heart starts racing. "My thoughts do not define me." Let it be the breath that brings you back to yourself. Every time. When was the last time you truly rested without guilt? Not just sleep. Not just a quick break while scrolling your phone. I mean real, intentional rest, the kind that nourishes your soul, not just your schedule. In a world that praises hustle and glorifies exhaustion, rest can feel rebellious. Have you ever felt lazy just for sitting still? Have you ever apologized for taking a break, as if you needed permission to breathe? Here's a radical truth that may feel unfamiliar at first. You are allowed to rest. And not just when you've done enough. Not only after every task is checked off. Not because you've earned it, but because you exist. Because you are human. Because your body, your heart, your nervous system need it. You do not have to be on the brink of burnout to deserve a pause. You don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. You are already enough even when you're still. Take a breath right now. A real one. Inhale. And exhale slowly. Let this be your permission slip. Let this be your sacred reminder. I am allowed to rest. Now, I know it's not always easy. We've been conditioned to tie our value to our productivity, to equate stillness with laziness, to believe that rest is something we must earn like a prize for pushing ourselves to the edge. But what if we rewrote that story? What if rest wasn't a reward, but a right? Think about nature. The seasons cycle. The moon waxes and wanes. Even the tide flows in and pulls back. Everything in life honors rhythm. Everything except how we treat ourselves. So let me ask you, where have you been pushing too hard? What are you forcing that actually needs to soften? Where in your life are you surviving instead of simply being? I've had moments, maybe you have too, where I kept going long after my soul whispered, "Pause." Where I ignored the tension in my shoulders, the fatigue in my eyes, the ache in my spirit. Because I thought the only way to be worthy was to stay busy. And yet, the most healing moments I've ever experienced didn't come from doing more. They came from letting go. From curling up in silence. From walking away from the noise. From giving myself without guilt the gift of rest. You are not a machine. You are a living, breathing being. And even the most beautiful engines need maintenance. Even the strongest trees need seasons of stillness. So what would it look like to honor your body today? To rest not because you're broken, but because you're wise. Maybe it's 10 minutes with your phone turned off. Maybe it's going to bed early without feeling like you've wasted the evening. Maybe it's simply putting your hand on your heart right now and whispering, "I am allowed to rest." Let that be your mantra. Let it sink in. Let it wash over all the parts of you that have felt pressured to keep pushing. Because rest isn't weakness. Rest is recovery. Rest is repair. Rest is how we come back home to ourselves. So the next time your mind tells you to keep going, to ignore the signals, to push through the pain just to prove your worth, pause. And remember, you are not behind. You are not lazy. You are not less because you choose to slow down. You are choosing life. You are choosing balance. You are choosing peace. Say it with me now. I am allowed to rest. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Not once everything is done. But now. Because you matter. Because you're enough. Because your rest is not optional, it's essential. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually noticed your breath? Not the shallow, rushed kind that happens when you're in a hurry. Not the anxious inhale before answering a difficult question. I mean a conscious, full, grounding breath, the kind that reminds your body, you are safe. You are here. You are okay. We often search for peace in big, external things: vacations, self-help books, another productivity hack. But what if your most powerful healing tool was already with you? What if it was something you've carried since the moment you were born, and something you'll carry until the very last moment of your life? That tool is your breath. And today, I want to help you reconnect with it, not just as a physical process, but as a daily anchor, a rhythm, a return to calm. Because here's the truth. Every breath you take has the power to bring you back to yourself, to slow down the noise, to soften your racing thoughts, to remind your nervous system that you are not in danger. This affirmation, "Every breath I take calms me," isn't just poetic, it's biological, it's spiritual, and it's practical. Let's walk through it together. Right now, take a moment. Wherever you are sitting, walking, maybe even lying in bed. Pause. Close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. And just breathe. Inhale through your nose, slow and steady, and exhale gently through your mouth. Do that again. Inhale, imagine you're breathing in light, clarity, peace. Exhale, imagine you're releasing tension, stress, heaviness. Now say it in your mind or out loud if you can. Every breath I take calms me. Can you feel it? The shift might be subtle at first, but that's how peace works. It doesn't crash in like a wave. It comes quietly, like a whisper saying, "You don't have to carry it all." Let me share something personal. There was a time when I struggled with anxiety so intense, I didn't even realize I was holding my breath. All day, my shoulders were tight, my chest felt heavy, and I thought maybe I need a break, or a retreat, or some major life change. But then one day, someone simply said to me, "Try breathing on purpose." At first, it sounded too simple to matter, but I tried it, and with every breath, I felt just a little more present, a little more in control. A little more like myself again. Now, I use this practice daily. Before difficult conversations. When I wake up feeling overwhelmed. Even when I'm stuck in traffic or standing in line. It's always available. Always within reach. And it's always enough. You don't need 30 minutes of meditation to reset. Sometimes, 3 deep breaths with intention can change everything. Let this affirmation become your inner rhythm. Inhale calm. Exhale pressure. Inhale clarity. Exhale fear. And again. Every breath I take calms me. So, next time anxiety creeps in, before it builds into a storm, before your thoughts spiral and your chest tightens, pause. Return to your breath. It's your anchor, your reset button, your constant companion that never asks anything of you except to be. No matter where you are in your life, no matter what you're facing, you always have your breath. Let that sink in. You don't have to fix everything right now. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to breathe. So as we close this segment, I invite you to make this your daily mantra. Not just words, but a way of being. Every breath I take calms me. Say it when you wake up. Say it when the world feels heavy. Say it before sleep. And slowly, gently, consistently, you'll notice that peace is no longer something you chase. It's something you create. With every single breath. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself believing a thought? That wasn't kind. That wasn't helpful. That wasn't even true, but it still shaped how you felt about yourself. Maybe it sounded like, I'm not doing enough. I'll never catch up. I always mess things up. Or that quiet, haunting whisper, I'm not enough. If you've been there, you're not alone. We all have a mind that sometimes plays the role of a harsh critic. And when anxiety shows up, it often hijacks the microphone and feeds us the worst-case stories. The ones that strip away our confidence and shrink our joy. But here's what no one really teaches us. You have a choice. You are not at the mercy of every thought that passes through your mind. You are the one behind the thoughts. And every single day you get to choose which ones to keep and which ones to let go. Let that sink in. You choose your thoughts. Your thoughts do not choose you. That's the power of today's affirmation. I choose thoughts that nourish my soul. Not thoughts that drain you. Not thoughts that judge or compare or tear you down. But thoughts that lift you. Thoughts that soften you. Thoughts that remind you who you truly are: strong, worthy, whole. Let's pause for a moment. Think of your mind like a garden. Every thought is a seed. Now ask yourself, what have you been planting lately? Are you watering thoughts of fear, self-doubt, and guilt? Or are you nurturing thoughts of gratitude, growth, and inner peace? Because the truth is, whatever you plant grows. And sometimes, we need to clear out the weeds and start again. Not by force, but with compassion. Let me share a moment from my own life. There was a week when I couldn't stop replaying a mistake I'd made, something I said during a meeting that didn't land well. My mind wouldn't let it go. I kept thinking, why did I say that? They probably think I'm unprofessional. I blew it. That thought loop. It didn't solve anything. It didn't help me grow. It only drained my energy and disconnected me from my truth. And then, in a quiet moment, I took a deep breath and asked myself, is this thought nourishing me or harming me? And the answer was clear. So I replaced it with a new one. I made a mistake and I'm still worthy. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm human. And just like that, the storm began to settle. Not because I erased the past, but because I chose a new lens to see it through. So what if you gave yourself that same grace? What if right now you became the conscious curator of your inner world? Imagine starting your morning by asking, what thoughts will nourish me today? Imagine catching a critical thought mid-sentence and saying, no, thank you. I'm choosing peace. Imagine offering yourself the same encouragement you so easily give to others. Because you deserve that. You deserve thoughts that feel like sunlight. Thoughts that remind you of your strength, your beauty, your capacity to begin again no matter what yesterday looked like. Let's say it together now, gently. I choose thoughts that nourish my soul. Let that be your mental compass. Let it guide your inner dialogue. Let it be the filter through which every thought must pass. Does this feed my fear or my peace? Does this reflect my worth or my wounds? Does this thought bring me closer to my truth or further from it? You are the gardener. You are the gatekeeper. You are the voice that gets the final word. So today, plant thoughts of healing, water thoughts of hope, and choose, moment by moment, to think in a way that heals instead of harms. You don't have to believe everything you think, but you can choose to believe in yourself, over and over again. So take a deep breath with me. Inhale strength. Exhale self-doubt. Again. I choose thoughts that nourish my soul. That's not just a mantra. That's a revolution. A quiet one. A daily one. And it begins with you. Let me ask you a question. What would change in your life if you truly believed you were already enough? Not enough when you get the job. Not enough when you lose the weight. Not enough when someone finally validates your worth. But right now, in this moment, exactly as you are. What if the version of you that's still figuring things out, the version that's healing, that's sometimes anxious, sometimes messy, sometimes tired, was already worthy? You see, we live in a world that constantly tells us we're not quite there yet, that we need to fix this, improve that, earn this, prove that. But here's the truth no one told most of us growing up. You don't have to become someone else to be lovable. You don't have to fix yourself to be accepted. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a person to be seen. Let that settle in. I am enough, exactly as I am. Say it slowly. Let it echo inside you. Even if part of you doubts it, speak it anyway. Because the journey toward believing this begins by repeating it until your soul starts to remember what your mind forgot. Now, maybe you're thinking, but how can I be enough when I'm not where I want to be? When I still make mistakes? When I have flaws? Let me offer this. Being enough doesn't mean being finished. It means being whole even while growing. It means honoring your humanity, not hiding it. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still be worthy of love, rest, joy, and peace. Think about this. Would you tell a flower, "Isn't beautiful," because it hasn't fully bloomed yet? Would you call a child unworthy because they're still learning how to walk? Of course not. So why be so harsh with yourself? Your worth is not dependent on your productivity, not on how many goals you've checked off, not on how many people approve of you. Your worth is inherent. It's built in. It came with you the moment you were born. And that hasn't changed. I remember a moment when I was scrolling through social media. Everyone seemed more successful, more confident, more put together. And I started to spiral. I thought, I should be further along. I should look better, feel better, be better. But then, I paused. I took a deep breath. And I said to myself, what if I stopped scolding myself and just chose to believe I am enough right now? It changed everything. Because when you start from enough, your entire energy shifts. You stop chasing. You start choosing. You stop proving. You start being. So here's what I want you to know right now. You are enough in your softness, in your stillness, in your struggle, in your healing. You are enough in your messy emotions, your growing edges, your quiet efforts no one sees. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are unfolding. And even now, you are enough. Say it with me, slowly and confidently. I am enough, exactly as I am. Not when, not if, not someday. Now. This isn't just a mantra. It's a mindset. A quiet revolution where you stop looking outward for approval and start coming home to yourself. So the next time your mind tells you you're not doing enough, not being enough, not achieving enough, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, you are not your to-do list. You are not your productivity. You are not your past. You are your heart, your presence, your intention, your being. And that is already enough. Let this be your daily reminder. Let it shape how you speak to yourself. Let it soften how you carry your story. Because every time you say it, every time you choose to believe it, you step into a more peaceful, powerful version of you. So take one more deep breath with me. Inhale worthiness. Exhale self-doubt. And say it again, one last time. I am enough, exactly as I am. Because you are. You always have been. And you always will be. Take a deep breath with me. Really pause for a moment. Inhale slowly. Exhale gently. Now check in with yourself. How does your body feel compared to when you first pressed play? Maybe your shoulders have dropped a little. Maybe your breath is a bit deeper. Maybe your mind, just for a moment, feels a little quieter. And if that's all you feel, that's more than enough. Because sometimes peace doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. Sometimes it comes in whispers. Sometimes it begins with a single exhale. That's the power of affirmations. Just one sentence, one soft truth can remind your mind and body. You are safe. You are whole. You are home. Anxiety may still visit. Your thoughts may still drift. But here's the shift. They don't control you anymore. You now have tools. You now have awareness. And most importantly, you have a way back to yourself. Because the kind of peace we're talking about today, it doesn't live in a perfect morning routine. It's not locked away in a silent retreat or waiting at the end of some flawless productivity streak. Peace lives in presence. It lives in your breath. It lives in your choice to pause and return. Again and again. You don't need to be perfect to feel calm. You don't need to eliminate all fear to feel peace. You just need to remember who you were before the noise, before the pressure, before the world told you you had to do more, be more, fix more, before anxiety made a home in your chest and called it normal. You see, The path to peace isn't about forcing yourself to calm down. It's about gently remembering the calm that's already within you. It's about unlearning the chaos. It's about releasing the tension. It's about creating space in your day to just be. These affirmations, they're not magic spells. They're practices. They're daily check-ins. They're lifelines you can reach for when life feels overwhelming. And the more you repeat them, the more they'll feel like truth. The more your body will start to trust that it's safe again. The more your mind will know it doesn't have to fight every thought. So don't treat these words as a one-time fix. Let them become your daily rhythm. Use them to start your morning or to unwind at night. Come back to them in the middle of a stressful day. Play this video while you walk, journal, or just sit with yourself. Because healing doesn't happen all at once, but it does happen one breath at a time. One affirmation at a time. One small act of self-kindness at a time. You deserve peace not just occasionally, but daily. You deserve stillness not just when the world gives you permission, but whenever you choose it. You deserve to feel safe not just externally, but within your own being. And if no one else has told you this today, let me be the first to say, I am proud of you for showing up, for listening, for breathing, for taking this moment to reconnect with your heart, your mind, your spirit. You're doing better than you think. Even if the progress feels invisible right now, it matters. Even if the healing feels slow, it's happening. Every time you say, I am safe, I let go, I am enough, you're rewriting the story your mind has been looping for years. And that is powerful beyond measure. So I invite you, before we close, to take one last breath together. Inhale slowly. Feel that calm come in. Exhale deeply. Let go of anything that no longer belongs. And as you breathe out, say it softly. Peace is within me. Peace is always within reach. Now before you go, I'd love to know, which affirmation spoke to you the most today? Was there a sentence that made your heart pause? A phrase that felt like coming home? Let's connect in the comments. Your voice matters, and your journey might inspire someone else who needs to hear it too. And if this video brought you even one moment of calm, one breath of relief, I hope you'll give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this reminder too. Because healing multiplies when it's shared. And peace is something we're all worthy of. Every single one of us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing gentleness in a world that often forgets it. Until next time, be kind to your breath. Be gentle with your mind. And always, always remember, you are already enough, exactly as you are.